In a world where almost everyone is constantly online, choosing not to use social media feels unusual, even suspicious. We are taught to believe that visibility equals existence, that if you're not posting, sharing, or reacting, you're somehow missing out on life. But psychology tells a very different story. Some people don't stay offline because they can't adapt, but because they have consciously chosen a different way of thinking, a way that values inner stability over external validation and mental clarity over constant stimulation. Social media trains the brain to seek approval, comparison, and instant emotional rewards. Over time, this quietly shapes how people think, feel, and even value themselves. But what happens to those who step away from that system entirely? How does their mind function differently? How do they build identity, manage emotions, and form relationships without digital validation? Understanding the psychology of people who don't use social media reveals something deeper about control, independence, and modern mental strength. And once you see it, you may start to question not why they stay offline, but why so many others don't. People who don't use social media often stand out, not because they are loud, but because they are quietly grounded. Psychology suggests that these individuals usually develop a stronger sense of identity from within. Their self-worth is not shaped by likes, comments, or online approval. Instead of constantly presenting themselves to others, they spend more time understanding who they really are. This internal stability allows them to live without the pressure of comparison, which is one of the most damaging psychological effects of social media today. While others measure their value through attention, these people measure it through meaning. Another key trait is self-control. Avoiding social media in a hyper-connected world requires discipline. It shows an ability to resist instant gratification and external stimulation. Psychologists often associate this with higher emotional regulation and long-term thinking. These individuals are less likely to react impulsively or seek validation for every achievement. Their silence is not a lack of confidence, but a sign of it. They don't feel the need to narrate their lives because they are fully present in them. Mentally, people who stay off social media tend to experience greater clarity. Without constant notifications and endless scrolling, their minds are less fragmented. Their attention span remains stronger, and their thoughts are more organized. Studies consistently link reduced social media use with lower anxiety and improved focus. These individuals are not disconnected from reality. They are simply selective about what they allow into their minds. Instead of consuming constant noise, they choose depth, reflection, and intentional thinking. Emotionally, people who don't use social media often show higher emotional intelligence. They process emotions privately, rather than turning feelings into content. They don't perform happiness for an audience, and they don't publicize pain for sympathy. This leads to a deeper understanding of their own emotions and the emotions of others. They tend to listen more than they speak, and when they do speak, their words usually carry weight. Their communication is shaped by thought, not by the need for attention. When it comes to relationships, these individuals are often misunderstood. They are not antisocial, but they value depth over exposure. Their social circles may be smaller, but their connections are usually stronger and more meaningful. Instead of constant digital interaction, they prioritize real conversations, presence, and shared experiences. Psychologically, this reflects secure attachment. They don't rely on constant online contact to feel valued or connected. Choosing not to use social media is also a form of independence. It shows resistance to social pressure, trends, and algorithm-driven opinions. These individuals are less likely to adopt beliefs just because they are popular. This makes them harder to manipulate and more difficult to control. In a world driven by visibility, they choose privacy. In a world addicted to noise, they choose peace. They may sometimes feel invisible or misunderstood, but they accept that cost. Because for them, mental peace matters more than attention, and a meaningful life matters more than being seen. In a world that constantly demands attention, choosing silence is often misunderstood. People who don't use social media are not trying to escape reality. They are choosing how deeply they want to experience it. They understand that not every thought needs to be shared, and not every moment needs an audience. This awareness allows them to live with intention rather than reaction, and with clarity rather than noise. As technology continues to shape how we think, connect, and define ourselves, the psychology behind staying offline becomes increasingly important. It reminds us that attention is power, and where we place it shapes who we become. Whether you use social media or not, the real question is no longer about being online or offline, but but about being in control. If this video made you reflect, pause, or see things differently, then its purpose is complete. Because in a world obsessed with visibility, the most powerful minds are often the ones you don't see, but the ones who see clearly.